worst possible time. Cassidy, baby, I'm sorry, but I've gotta go, Brian said, caressing his phone like it was the lover I used to be, pointing his toes away from me and towards the door. I just want you to kiss me like you mean it again, I whispered, trying to sound light and flirty and sexy, trying to ignore the panicked thunder of my heart in my chest, trying to ignore the voice in my head screaming that he didn't really love me no matter what he said, that after just 9 months together, he was getting bored of me already, that I was losing him before our relationship had even really begun. Honk! We both jumped as the Uber driver leaned on his horn. Cassie, I love you so much, but I can't miss my flight. And then his hands were on my hips, and his strong arms pulled me against him, and every cell in my body yearned for him to kiss me like he used to when I was exciting and new for him, like I was the only woman in the world for him, like he wanted me and only me forever. Love you, honey. I'll see you in a week and we'll talk about this, he said, and gave me a dry, boring, lifeless peck on the lips like he was kissing his grandma. And then he was gone, and I was alone with my terrible thoughts and a sense of growing doom in my heart. That night, I lay in bed feeling worthless and unattractive and lonely and scared, tossing and turning and listening to myself cry, wondering what had gone so wrong. I glanced at the picture of us I kept as the background on my phone and felt like I was punched in the gut, because I saw the look of absolute adoration on his face that made me feel cherished and loved and certain, the look I barely recognize now, because he hadn't looked at me like that in months. The look I was terrified he would be giving some other woman right now because she was young and pretty and new. When we first got together, we'd made out like movie stars. I always felt so soft and small and feminine and safe in his arms. I'd feel a deep primal growl in his chest every time he kissed me, and I knew he loved me and knew he was the one with no doubt at all. We'd even secretly laugh at friends who said the passion had died in their relationship because we knew we were special. We knew we were meant for each other, and that could never happen to us. But now, love you, honey, and sex when we had time. I lay there burying my face in my tear-stained pillow, feeling like a fool for thinking this time would be different. I thought about how I looked in the mirror, how men didn't stare the same way anymore, how long it had taken to meet a good man like Brian in the first place, after my heart had been broken so many times in the past by losers and scammers and guys who just wanted sex. I thought of Brian thousands of miles away, giving other women the look he was only supposed to give me. And in that moment, I knew I was at an important crossroads in my life. I knew I had to do something. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized I had just 3 options. 1. I could pretend this was just normal, that this happened to everybody. I could give myself to this man and just accept that you could have passion or companionship, but not both. 2. I could end things with Brian. I could tear my heart to shreds and get back on the endless dating treadmill, put myself through the emotional brutality of dating today, risk ending up alone again, or with someone I didn't love half as much as Brian. Or I could make the choice I did. The scary choice. The brave choice. The choice to discover the truth about what passion and chemistry and spark actually mean to men, and why it's very different than what it means to us women. The truth about why men seem to lose interest in you after a while, no matter how hot you are or how hard you try to keep his attention on you. The truth about how to keep the desire and connection in your relationship, whether you're together for 2 weeks or 40 years. The completely irrational truth that leaves so many women lonely and sad instead of being loved by a man forever the way you deserve. I had a week before Brian got back. A week to learn what I hadn't learned in decades. A week to save my relationship and save my future. The next morning, I fired up my laptop, nervous and excited about what I was going to learn. But quickly, I got frustrated, and then angry. All over the internet, all I found was a mix of half-baked advice about getting men to chase you and ways to communicate with a man when we all know the last thing men want to do is talk, and tricks to keep him interested that a nice girl like me would never do. I almost gave up. But then, late at night, I found him. This one so-called relationship expert named Michael Fiore, who I followed on Facebook, and who has over 2 million followers. Reading article after article he wrote, I felt like I finally found a man who understood. I read testimonial after testimonial from women saying this guy had saved their relationship, and I hoped and prayed he could help me. I just about had a panic attack when I saw how much he charged. $500 for just an hour of his time. But then I counted down the days until Brian returned, and thought about what would happen if he love you honeyed me when he came in the door. And I took out my credit card and took the plunge. Tell me everything, he said. So I did. I told him what happened with Brian, and with Steve and Tim, and every other relationship I'd had that fizzled to nothing before it got started. How lonely I was even when I was dating someone I really liked. How sick I was of being disappointed again and again. How scared I was of ending up old and alone like my mom. After listening closely, Michael looked me in the eye through the computer screen with kindness and understanding in his eyes. And then he told me a secret that changed my life forever. A secret that I realize now has sabotaged every relationship I've ever had before I learned it. A secret I'm going to share with you right now. Cassidy, he said in a deep voice that sent shivers up my spine. This might sound odd, but a lot of the problems you're having come down to kissing. What you need to understand is that a kiss is a conversation. Every time you kiss a man, you're communicating with him on a deep, primal, genetic, animal level. The way you tilt your head, how you hold your body against his, what you do with your lips and tongue, all of it sends an unconscious message to the primitive part of a man. The mistake you're making is letting him control the conversation, letting him decide what you talk about. I promise you, if you just do what I'm about to tell you, everything will change and you'll never go through this again. And then he explained the 3 things a woman must say to a man with every kiss to make him fall in love with you if he isn't already, and reawaken his love and lust for you forever if he already is. I typed furiously on my computer as he explained. First, your kiss needs to say, "You are safe," and use feminine softness to invite him to let down his shields and reveal the vulnerable part of himself to you. Because as long as he has his emotional armor on, it's impossible for him to open his heart to you. Second, your kiss must say, "You are powerful," and feed the part of his masculine soul that needs the adoration and respect of his woman. And third, your kiss needs to say, "I give myself to you because I am valuable and you have earned me," to make the testosterone thunder through his veins, to make him feel like you are his to protect and cherish. As long as you say these 3 things to any man with your kiss, he will be yours, mind, body, and soul, forever. And then I felt my mouth go dry and my heart beat like a hummingbird as he explained exactly how to kiss a man to make him love you forever. I felt like a fool practicing the techniques he taught me on my hand in the bathroom. The day Brian got home, I met him at the door. He looked nervous, like he thought I was going to start a fight. I was shaking like a leaf, but the moment he put his bags down, I took his face in my hands, looked up into his eyes, and used the primal passion kiss to tell him what he meant to me and just how happy I was to see him. "What was that?" he asked, with a look of delighted shock on his face. And then he said nothing at all as I kissed him again. And then a wide smile carved itself across my face as he took me in his arms, carried me to the bedroom, made love to me with the intensity and urgency and need he had the very first time, and didn't look at his phone for hours, because for the first time in forever, he was completely focused on me. The next day, my best friend, Maggie, asked me why I was so happy all of a sudden, why all the tension between Brian